All right, so you ready to dive into some online trading? Like, really get into it.
Let's do it. Always up for a deep dive.
Awesome. We've got a ton of good stuff to unpack today. So, like, you want to step up your investing, and we're going to help with that.
Definitely.
Okay, so we're digging into this guide called Trading in Linea, Guía para Principiantes.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
It is. And don't worry about that title. It's all in English, just good, solid advice on getting started with trading online.
Yeah.
And one thing that really jumped out at me,
Yeah, what's that?
it's not just like, hey, buy some stocks and hope for the best.
Right.
They really push a strategy that even experienced investors can use. It's all about building a strong base with ETFs.
ETFs, that's the core of it for sure. Exchange traded funds for anyone just tuning in.
Yeah, ETFs. And for someone who's like just starting out, that might sound a little complicated.
Yeah.
What exactly are ETFs?
Well, think of it like this. You've got a basket, right?
Okay, got a basket.
And it's full of stocks, not just one, but a bunch of them all together,
Okay.
representing like a slice of the market, a particular sector or an index. That's an ETF. So instead of betting everything on a single stock,
You're spreading it out, right?
you got it. You're spreading the risk across a whole bunch of companies. And this guide, Trading in Linea, really pushes this diversification, especially when you're first getting started.
Makes sense. So less risk, right? Like you're not putting all your eggs in one basket,
Yeah,
so to speak.
exactly.
But like why ETFs specifically? Why not just grab a few individual stocks that look promising?
Good question. And Trading in Linea gets into that. It argues that if you're aiming for long-term growth, ETFs might be a smarter move.
Oh, really?
Yeah, even compared to like really well-researched individual stocks.
Mm.
You see, ETFs tend to have lower fees than actively managed funds, and they can zero in on specific market sectors.
So you can target certain areas without having to research every single company in that space.
You got it.
That's really interesting. So less risk, lower fees, and the potential for solid returns over time. I'm starting to see the appeal of ETFs here.
It's a solid strategy.
It is. But okay, let's back up just a bit. Even if ETFs are like the foundation,
Right.
we got to know the basics of online trading, right? Like how do you actually do it?
Absolutely. And Trading in Linea breaks it down really well. The first step is all about picking the right platform, and they go beyond just listing the popular brokerage apps. They emphasize something super important that often gets overlooked: real-time data streaming.
Real-time data. Hmm. Why is this so crucial? Wouldn't just looking at basic stock charts be enough for someone just starting out?
That's what a lot of people think,
Yeah.
but Trading in Linea makes a great point. Real-time data isn't just for day traders, the ones making split-second decisions.
Okay.
It's about getting a sense of how the market moves, those little ups and downs throughout the day, and how news can cause ripples.
Oh, interesting.
It's like learning to read the market's pulse, basically.
I like that. Instead of just seeing static numbers, you're watching the market breathe, almost like it's a living thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And that would be valuable, even if you're more of a long-term investor, especially with ETFs.
Absolutely. It just helps you make smarter choices. You can spot potential opportunities and react to shifts in the market. It's all about building that gut level understanding of how it all works.
Okay, now that makes sense. So real-time data, it's not just for the pros, it's for everyone who wants to get a deeper understanding of the market.
I'd say so. It's a game changer.
Okay, so we've got our platform, we're seeing the market data in real time, and we're ready to build our ETF portfolio. But how do we actually choose which ETF to invest in? I mean, there are thousands of them out there.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's where Trading in Linea really stands out, I think. It brings up this idea of thematic alignment, which is pretty brilliant.
Thematic alignment, what's that all about?
So basically, it's about finding ETFs that match your personal values and your long-term outlook.
Hold on, values. I thought we were here to make money, not save the world. How do my values fit into investing?
Well, think about it like this. Let's say you're really into clean energy.
Okay, I am, actually.
You really believe that the world is shifting to renewables. You've seen the research, you've seen the trends. Instead of just hoping it happens, you could invest in an ETF that tracks those companies.
Oh, okay. So you're putting your money where your mouth is.
Hmm.
You're not just investing in companies, you're investing in a idea.
Exactly. And Trading in Linea says that this actually makes you a better investor. You're more engaged, more informed. You're not just chasing profits, you're a part of something you believe in.
I like that. It's like you're putting your money where your heart is, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so thematic alignment. I'm with you on that.
Hmm.
But once we've found ETFs that align with our values, our vision of the future, how do we know which ones are actually good investments?
Right, so now we get into the details. Trading in Linea recommends looking past just the basic stuff, like past returns. They emphasize something they call the triple D assessment.
Triple D. Okay, I'm intrigued. Lay it on me.
It focuses on dividends, depth, and diversity.
Dividends. Okay. Yeah, those are the payments companies make to shareholders, right?
Yeah, exactly. But Trading in Linea says it's not just about the size of the dividend, it's about consistency. If an ETF has a history of steadily increasing its dividend,
It could mean they're well managed, like the companies in the ETF are actually doing well.
right, it's a good indicator of a profitable portfolio.
Okay, that makes sense. So what about depth? What are we looking for there?
So depth refers to how many underlying assets are in the ETF.
Ooh, okay.
If an ETF has hundreds of holdings, that spreads your risk much better than one with just a few.
The more diverse the basket of stocks, the better.
Gotcha.
Exactly. And that brings us to diversity, the last D.
Right. And this type of diversity goes beyond just the number of holdings. It's also about the different sectors and industries that are represented, maybe even geographic regions. A good ETF should have a healthy mix of all of that.
So we're minimizing exposure to any one particular risk.
You got it.
Okay, so we've got our thematic alignment, we've got our triple D assessment, we're feeling pretty good about our ETF choices. What's next?
Now it gets really practical. Trading in Linea starts talking about managing your investments. And they have this great piece of advice. They say, treat your ETF portfolio like a garden.
A garden.
Yeah, a garden. You have to tend to it. You don't just plant the seeds and forget about it.
I like that analogy. So what does tending to the garden actually mean when we're talking about online trading? Okay, I'm all about this garden approach, but like, what kind of gardening are we talking about here? Do I need to learn about pruning and weeding my portfolio or what?
Well, it's not quite that literal, but the idea is similar. So Trading in Linea talks about regularly checking your ETFs, making
Hmm.
sure they still fit with your goals, your outlook, all that.
So it's not just set and forget it, huh? We actually got to check in on our ETF garden and make some adjustments as needed.
Exactly.
Like what kind of adjustment?
Well, sometimes it might be as simple as rebalancing your portfolio.
Rebalancing.
Yeah, like let's say one of your ETFs is doing really well, like way better than the others. It might throw off your asset allocation, right?
Oh, okay.
So you might sell off a bit of that ETF and use that money to invest in the others, just to keep everything balanced how you want it.
So you're basically pruning back the one that's getting out of control, giving the others some space to grow.
Exactly. That's a good way to think about it.
Okay, I like it. What else does trading in Linea say about this whole gardening thing? Any other tips?
Well, they also say it's super important to stay informed about the companies in your ETFs.
Even though we're investing in a basket of stocks.
Yeah, right. Even then, you got to know what those companies are up to, how they're doing, if there's any big news that could affect their value.
So it's not just watching the ETF itself. We're keeping an eye on the individual players on the team, so to speak.
Exactly. You got to be an active, informed investor, even if you're using a passive strategy like ETFs.
Makes sense.
And that brings us back to the garden analogy again, to the last key point,
Okay.
patience.
Patience seems to be a big theme in this guide.
It is, and for good reason. Just like a garden, a good ETF portfolio takes time to grow.
No quick wins here. It's about the long game.
Exactly. Trading in Linea is all about resisting that urge to constantly mess with your portfolio. Don't chase the latest trends or react emotionally to every little dip in the market.
Oh, that's so hard sometimes, though, isn't it? When you see those numbers jumping around.
It is. But the key is to trust the process. Tend your garden carefully. Let your investments grow over time.
I like that. Okay, so let me just sum this all up. Online trading with ETFs. Find funds that match your values, your vision for the future. Do your research with a triple D assessment. Pick a platform that shows you real-time data. And then, tend to your ETF garden. Be patient. Make smart adjustments along the way. That's basically it.
You got it. That's the roadmap right there.
It's a pretty solid plan. Trading in Linea really lays it all out there.
They do, but remember, this is just the start.
Okay.
The guide gives you a fantastic foundation, but the real learning, that comes from experience.
From being in the market.
Exactly. From making decisions, learning from your wins, and, yeah, your mistakes, too.
Because, to be real, there will be mistakes. That's part of the process.
Absolutely. But that's how you learn and grow as an investor.
And the cool thing about online trading is you can start small.
Right.
Test the waters. Build your confidence over time.
There are so many resources out there to help you, too. Websites, online communities, even financial advisors if you need that extra guidance.
Right. The key is to find what works for you, what fits your goals.
Absolutely.
Well, I think we really dug up some gold nuggets from trading in línea, guía para principiantes. This deep dive has totally changed my thinking about online trading, especially using ETFs.
Glad to hear it.
I'm feeling inspired to get out there and start tending my own little investment garden.
That's awesome. And remember, investing shouldn't be a stressful thing.
Right.
It should be a journey. Take your time, do your homework, and most importantly, enjoy the ride.
Love that. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive. Happy investing, everyone.